I'm sure. Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Staff roll call, please.
Attendance noted.
Okay.
I'll just note that we need to appoint an acting secretary for this meeting.
Okay, who would like to be acting secretary tonight? Very good, Erin. She'll be the acting secretary. Thank you, Erin. That's a tough job, and we're glad you'll take that up. Next is approval of the minutes for the regular planning commission meeting of June 22nd. Is there a motion? Okay, a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Carries. Thank you. Opportunity for citizens to address the commission on items not on the agenda. I don't think we'll have any issues there. So we'll move on to no new business, so public hearing. First public hearing is item number 1 is consider a request for an interim use permit for temporary Honda employee parking at 7700 Pillsbury Avenue, the portion of the former city garage site that is south of 77th Street. Staff.
Thank you, Chair Jabs. Richfield Bloomington Honda is currently constructing a new building on their dealership campus, as approved by the City Council back in 2013. Honda plans a phased expansion, including a parking structure to be built by 2020. Site constraints will continue to require employee parking off-site, will continue to require parking employee vehicles off-site while construction is underway. Honda is proposing to continue leasing the city-owned property at 7700 Pillsbury Avenue for temporary use as an employee parking lot, as they have been doing so since August of 2013. This property is zoned mixed-use neighborhood, and parking as a standalone use is not permitted. Therefore, an interim use permit is required to allow this non-conforming use. Honda's previous interim use permit expired in March of 2015. They've applied for a new 5-year interim use permit, which is the maximum length allowed. Staff is recommending approval of a 3-year interim use permit. We'll get into the policy considerations. The purpose of an interim use permit is to allow a use that may not be compatible with the comprehensive plan to operate for a limited period of time. Interim use permits are designed to allow a use that is presently acceptable, but that with anticipated development will not be acceptable in the future. The council may waive ordinance provisions upon finding that the temporary nature of the interim use will eliminate the adverse effects that the provisions were intended to prevent. The council must find that the temporary nature of this permit makes the non-conforming use permissible at this time. In evaluating a request for an interim use permit, the Planning Commission and City Council shall also consider its compliance with the criteria outlined in subsection 547.15 of the City Code, which is further articulated in your report. So again, staff is recommending approval of a 3-year interim use permit with no additional extension options. This interim use permit would run from August 11, 2015 through July 31, 2018. In conjunction with the previous interim use permit, the term length would be 5 years in total. And then just a couple of other points. The lot is to be used for employee parking only. No parking of inventory vehicles or customer vehicles should be permitted at any time. A maximum of 77 vehicles should be stored on the site, and no vehicles should be stored or parked on grass buffer areas. So 7700 Pillsbury Avenue is city-owned property, and it is the portion of the former city garage that lies south of 77th Street. No redevelopment plans are proposed for the property at this time. Should land use approvals be granted for a code-compliant use, the city would be able to terminate the interim use permit and the lease at that time. This concludes the staff report. Tim Carter from Richfield Bloomington Honda is here to answer any questions you have, and I can answer any questions as well. Thank you.
Okay, Erin?
Who pays for snow removal? Does the city or will Honda?
Honda would be responsible for basic maintenance and upkeep, including snow removal, just general upkeep, cutting the grass, that kind of thing.
And then my second question is, why are you recommending 3 versus the 5 that they are requesting? Why the 2-year difference?
We're recommending a total of 5 years. We would like to see this property redeveloped. We'd like to see something happen here. We've had a couple of inquiries. Within 3 years' time, we're hopeful that the new parking ramp will be underway, and that they won't need this area, and we'd like to reuse it. There is always the opportunity to grant a new interim use permit when this expires if there's no interest, but we'd like to cap it at the total of 5 years for now.
Other questions of staff? Okay. This is a public hearing. Tim, did you have anything you wanted to add? Mhm.
Good evening, Planning Commission members. I appreciate the opportunity to come up and speak to you. Thank you for all your work, Melissa and Matt, on us getting to this point. We're excited about our new opportunity here in Richfield. We're planning to open August 10th. We're hoping to get a temporary use permit August 3rd so we can start moving everything from the old facility to the new facility. And business is booming right now, so we're growing substantially. When I started this project, I had 97 employees. I have 140 now, and I'll have 154 by the time we open, probably. And so we're growing as a need for people as well. But parking has become quite an issue. We are renting the entire top floor of the Best Buy parking lot, about 11 acres, and by the middle of August, we'll have about 900 cars, for stock inventory cars over there. So they're trying to do the same thing that you guys are trying to do for your land, is to lease it out. They're building out. So we're kind of on a temporary structure there, and we're kind of making plans for this ramp to go in the old RB Honda spot. We probably before 2020. But in the meantime, we're growing, and we need to keep this lot. And I was going to ask also for consideration to be able to pave. There's a part of that lot right now that we're not officially using because it's got gravel on it, and we'd like permission to be able to go ahead and pay at our expense to pave that portion. That would give us an additional probably 15, maybe 20 spots. We'd figure that out with your advisement. But I'm not sure that this request included that. Oh, it did? So the total 77 did include that?
It did, actually, yeah. The architect sent forward a plan that showed 77 vehicles on there, which was an increase
That
from
part?
the 50-something or whatever it was the last time around. And then
Great.
as one of the conditions attached on here, yes, it will have to be paved.
Okay,
The
perfect.
gravel area, yep.
Because we'd like to time that with the blacktop crews that are going to come in and finish our main project. So it'd probably be in October sometime that we would want to go ahead and pave that and get that in. So that would help out quite a bit.
Any questions of Tim? Okay. It's coming along nicely. It looks really nice.
Yeah, September 17th, we're having a grand opening for everybody. I think pretty much everybody here is invited. I'll make sure you get official invites by then. But yeah, it's quite spectacular. We're pretty happy about the project.
I didn't see any attached, but no contact from members of the community in the immediate area.
That's correct. We didn't receive any correspondence on this issue.
Okay.
I guess one question I just had now, the 3 years, you're okay with that?
Yeah.
We should be in good shape.
Yeah, I hope to have other alternatives secured to help answer my Best Buy and this employee parking. If it's not the ramp, I need to have something else, but we're searching for other alternatives in the meantime. Just in case you do happen to sell the lot, we need to have a backup plan.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions of I guess staff or anything?
Oh, and so can you just clarify if before the 3 years is up, if there's interest in the land, the city can pull out of this and sell the land? Or what?
That's correct. There'll be a clause both in the interim use permit and in the lease that were land use approvals granted, the city would be able to terminate the interim use permit and lease. And
Okay.
just given the length of the typical land use approval process being, approximately 6 to 8 weeks, there would be some lead time in there to notify Honda that, that there was redevelopment interest.
And the city does collect rent for the use of the land, I assume?
That's also correct.
Yeah.
There will be a separate lease that the city council will consider concurrently with this at the August 11 meeting.
And then the last question is Honda then responsible for restoring the site to dirt when they're done with it? Or would the city have to then tear up the parking lot at their expense to resell for some other use?
As written in the lease, they would leave it as is. They're required to do basic maintenance,
Okay.
paving the non-paved area, mowing the grass, just regular upkeep, but it would be left as is, paved asphalt when their lease terminates.
Okay, like a motion to close the public hearing? A second?
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any, oh, wait,
We
we
have,
we don't have to have a motion, I'm sorry. Next thing, we have to have a motion on the option. Who's make a motion?
okay, I'll move that we recommend approval of a 3-year interim use permit for off-site employee parking at 7700 Pillsbury Avenue for Richfield Bloomington Honda.
Second.
Okay, very good. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Thank you. Good luck, Tim. Okay, item number 2 on public hearing is consider an amendment to the city's zoning ordinance. The proposed ordinance would clarify the regulations related to accessory dwelling units. Staff.
Thank you. As stated, this is just a clarification to an ordinance that was approved earlier this year. In March, the City Council approved the accessory dwelling units that we discussed here at the Planning Commission for the single and low-density single-family districts. What was written in the staff report and City Council, both for the Planning Commission and City Council, was that units may be internal to a primary structure, attached to a primary structure, or detached in an accessory garage. The intent of the regulations was to allow detached accessory dwelling units only as part of the detached garage. In other words, these regulations were intended to allow these types of uses on the single-family properties, but to essentially make them indistinguishable from properties that did not have an accessory unit. So to incorporate them into one of the primary or secondary structures, the principal building or that accessory garage. And again, there are a number of regulations that were adopted that would make it very difficult for you to do anything other than attached or internal to the dwelling or as part of a detached garage, like the matching of the materials, the orientation of the doors, things like that. But it doesn't, the text of the ordinance does not specifically state that it must be part of that detached garage. And so I think that could lead to confusion when someone comes in and initially starts reading the ordinance. It might appear that you could set up an RV or a similar type structure in your backyard and have someone living there. That was not the intent of the ordinance. And so this would just make that more clear. Again, I think it would be very, very difficult for someone to come in with one of these portable units. I'm sure you've seen some advertisements for them. They're becoming more popular. To come in with a portable unit that would meet our size requirements, that would meet the building material requirements, that would meet all of these other conditions. But with it kind of just buried within those conditions, people may not realize it up front, and they could potentially go through a lot of work and a lot of research for something that was never intended to be allowed. So that's what this would do. It would just add that little clause to clarify that if it's an accessory dwelling unit, it must be part of that detached garage.
Okay, very good. Just out of curiosity, have we had any requests on doing this with garages as such?
We have had a number of inquiries about both internal and detached ADUs. We haven't had anyone apply yet. We have had some applications for taller garage structures with accessory space above, but it has not been an accessory unit. And then we have had one inquiry about one of the portable units to be placed in the backyard. And that was kind of how we realized it said it here and it didn't make that clear here. So that's how it came to our attention.
Okay, thank you. Other questions of staff?
So this limits kind of no tiny houses.
Correct. You would not be able to build a tiny house in your backyard.
Okay.
Right.
If the concern is the portable houses or the trailers, why can't the ordinance just say that it has to be permanently installed?
I don't think that is the only I mean, I don't think, at least the way the ordinance was crafted, it is so that you don't have 3 primary structures on your single-family lot. At least from staff's perspective, that seems like a lot on these city 50-foot lots. That seems like a lot. If it's not, if that is something that you intend or you want, we can revise the ordinance otherwise, but it would likely require some changes or some give in some of those material considerations. Some other things would need to be changed in the ordinance.
Well,
as
I guess what struck me, and I guess I didn't read the staff report that closely initially because I didn't remember this being in it. I remember understanding that if you had a garage, an existing garage, that you had to maintain the spaces, or at least 2 of the spaces that existed there. But if you didn't have any garage, that there was no requirement to build one. So this sounds like if you do want a detached one, you're starting from 0. You would have to build a 2-car garage, or I guess at least a 1-car garage to attach this to. Is that correct?
Right. We'd have to look back at what the square footage requirements are for a 1-car or 2-car garage, what you're required to build.
Yeah.
But this sentence here is a direct quote from the staff report that was in there, and that was always the intent. And right.
Yeah. I mean, this is probably not the time to address it. In general, I agree that on a 50-foot lot, 3 structures is a lot, but many of our lots are larger than that. And on a 75-foot lot, I don't personally think that's a problem, but maybe something to consider down the road.
Maybe at a study session or something, yep. Yeah. Any other questions of staff? Okay. This is a public hearing, and I don't see anyone that wishes to come forward, so I'd ask for a motion to close the public hearing. A second. Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, and discussion on the recommendation. Otherwise, ask for a motion.
I was gonna say, I'm good with this, but I wasn't here, so maybe I'm a big can of worms of, if the lot is big enough, I like the idea of having the opportunity to have a, tiny house or that 3rd structure if you have enough space. So maybe for something future, but not for this.
Yeah, as I said, I think probably that's a good item for a study session. Not get these 2 mixed up.
Yep.
Because this has been a long time coming.
Yeah.
And I think we need to get this one finished and resolved so that it's straightened away, and then go on to that at a further one. I think it's a good idea. We just need to do it in the proper format.
Agree.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, then there's been a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on. We have old business none, liaison reports no. I know there's nothing from community services. So city council? No report. Okay. Anything? Nobody? Okay, nobody on that one. Housing and redevelopment.
Just that they approved moving forward with a proposal for Cedar Point Commons with what was proposed. And so that project's moving right along.
Thank you. Transportation Commission?
Yeah, so the Transportation Commission did not meet in July, but I will just talk for a second about the bike-friendly community workshop that was with Public Works staff a week ago. So we had a person from the League of American Bicyclists come to Richfield, evaluate us, and tell us how we're doing. As you might know, Richfield is a bike-friendly community, a basic level, bronze level bike-friendly community. So we're getting a sense of where we're at, what it would take to get to the next level, what it would take to maintain our level when we're up for renewal in 4 years. So he's going to do an actual report, and next time, or maybe over email, I'll be able to get you guys the report there. But we talked about a few issues. I mean, obviously, the main consideration is streets and what we're doing to accommodate bikes on our streets. We talked about some of the projects that are progressing, and I hope you guys have checked out the Intercity Trail. The first segment is open now from Taft Park to Lake Nokomis. So some of those connections that are going in. We did talk about bike parking. Our ordinance is pretty weak right now, and that's one of the negative aspects for Richfield. And then not planning related, but the other thing that we're not doing particularly well right now is we need more of an ongoing review of if there are bike crashes and what's causing those and things like that. So if there are any questions about that workshop, let me know.
Do we track bike crashes?
So no, we don't right now. It goes in a report of all traffic crashes, but there's no active report. An example, the person who did this worked in, I think, Denver or some city in Colorado, where every time there was a bike report, the city person responsible for it would actually go to the site, review what was happening, review if there were sightline issues, see if there are changes that they can make immediately, and they're able to significantly reduce the bike crashes that they were seeing from that kind of active approach.
Thank you for attending that. You couldn't have found a better person to do that, so that was perfect, so thanks. Thanks for the report as well. Anything else as far as liaison? Any others? Nope. Okay, and I think then we go down to the city planner's comments, reports.
I did just want to report that the gimmick proposal for the 5 townhomes on Sheridan was approved by the council 2 weeks ago. They plan to start construction yet this year and they hope to be open in the spring. And then also just mention that there's another joint work session with the city council on August 11th, and that is to talk about 2 senior housing proposals for a couple of locations in the city. So mark your calendars for August 11th, and we'll get out a memo soon.
Thank you. Anything else? Yes.
You know, a few months ago, the Edina City Council approved an apartment building over in York, and it affects a lot of our Richfield neighborhoods on Accessory. Well, nothing has happened over there, and it's turned into this horrid weed pile. And every time I go by, it just really angers me because we have Richfield residents that have to look at that live on Accessory. Is there anything that we can do to inquire what's going on over there and why that hasn't been built? But it's really an eyesore. It's an eyesore when you're just driving down the street, on York. But if I thought I had to look at that 24/7, it would really, it was bad enough that we're going to have be faced an apartment building with all the stories and all the traffic and everything. But a weed pile is really it really is a bad deal for people, and I really hate it that Richfield residents have to look at that. So, is there anything that we can do as a planning commission to kind of figure out what's going on, or you can do as a staff, or what can happen?
We can certainly make calls to ask them to do something about it. I don't know that we can make them do anything about it. The good news is that I did hear yesterday that developer has finally secured their financing, and so things should start moving at the site very quickly.
Okay, so if that's
yes.
But in the meantime,
that
is
has
there
been the
anything that
holdup,
they could even
apparently.
clean that up, or else ask the developer to mow over there?
Right. I frankly am surprised that the city of Edina wasn't making them do anything about it, because it was an eyesore for everybody. But like I said, hopefully things will start moving very quickly now, because that is what I read, that the financing has finally been secured.
Construction season, and that's what we've wondered, if the financing didn't go through or something like that. But it's just really been a bad deal for Richfield residents that because they had an issue with the whole building of that, and then to be faced with this for a good share of the summer is really not acceptable. And so anyway, I just really wanted to just find out what's going on, but I'm really glad to hear at least something's happening over there. Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Do you know when My Burger, Great Clips, and is it Caribou is opening up, or how's that coming along?
My Burger would like to be open within the next couple of weeks. Caribou is still fairly early in their build out, so it'll be a little bit yet. Okay. And then the site work, hopefully here in the next few weeks as well. I believe they had some changes with their contractor, and that kind of slowed a couple things down. But like I said, My Burger, next couple weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Great Clips is open.
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is.
Great Clips has been open for about 2 weeks now, and I have seen a line. I've seen people waiting.
One more update I'll grill you for. Do you guys know anything about Lindale Gardens site, if anything has happened since the last council extension?
No, I haven't heard anything.
Okay, that's it. Okay, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A second? Second for it? Okay, thanks. All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, thank you very much.